Tonight's speaker is a leading voice in the new wave of young design entrepreneurs. To quote Stephen Heller, design entrepreneurs differ from garden variety entrepreneurs. They don't just fund any old potential project, they conceive products that usually have deep personal roots. Designers' ideas stem from personal experience and other manifestations of events, narratives, and autobiographies. And this is exactly what Aaron Draplin is about, making sure that everything he does is true to who he is, whether it is a client-based commission or a self-initiated piece of merch. He is a storyteller, and his autobiography can be read in the blogs he writes, the posters he designs, and the products he creates. He studied graphic design at MCAD before heading out west to work as the art director of Snowboarder magazine. At some point, he washed dishes on the railroads in Alaska. Just thought I'd throw that in there. He founded Draplin Design Company in 2004, producing a wide range of award-winning projects and developing products for businesses such as Cole Headwear, board designs for Ride, Forum, and New, conceiving field notes journals with Kudal partners in Chicago, and the array of merchandise for the DDC brand enterprise. His iconic forms and bold designs are steeped in a no-nonsense Midwestern vernacular and work ethic. They project an authenticity and attitude that seems inseparable from his self-deprecating personality and his clients' passions, reflected in the DDC motto, work hard and do good work for good people. And I think Aaron is also kind of like the Wright brothers in that he has a bunch of states kind of vying for who can claim him, whether it's Michigan or wherever. I think tonight, and I think a lot of people in this room would agree that Minnesota owns you tonight. So without further ado, here's some tall tales from a large man, Aaron Draplin.
Thank you. All right. All right. Okay. All right. Just want to enjoy this for 1 second because, you know, it's a lot of eyeballs up there. So, well, is that everything that sounds good? Everything's cool? Okay. My name is Aaron James Draplin. I am 38 and a half years old, from northern Michigan, not too far from here. And I'm a graphic designer, whatever it takes to make a living out in Portland, Oregon. So I used to live here. And tonight, I'm going to present all the warts and moles, the whole goddamn story for you guys, from conception, right, all the way up until tonight, and then, you know, hopefully into the future too. So here goes. Okay, we have a multimedia presentation, state-of-the-art equipment, and we'll see if this can work. Okay, right? Okay, to you guys, hello Minneapolis, thank you for having me here. Well, come on. All right. Okay. A Louis Anderson-sized thank you to the Walker Art Center, MCAD, Rhino, John Baugh, Kevin at the Ideal Diner, and Paul Westerberg. So thank you guys, okay? All right, more applause, okay, thank you. Okay, so our intentions tonight, this talk here, this lecture series, we're going to clear the air. We're going to do our best to clear the air. We're going to astound you with graphic arts and some tall tales and some truth and a couple fibs here and there too. We're going to win you over. Yeah, tonight. If anyone had any questions after tonight, friends forever. That's our policy. We're going to defy the fucking odds. All right? Because I mean, I'll just say it. You know, I shouldn't be up here. I mean, you know, I used to come to these things. I was forced to write papers on it and stuff, and you know, to be here is very, very surreal and very fun, and everyone just loosen up, no big deal. I have no credentials whatsoever, you know. Never won an award. I never tried for an award. No professional accolades whatsoever, I mean, none. I don't have a book to sell yet, but I'm working on it. And I usually don't wear pants when I work. So this is weird being here, okay? So that's the sort of truth of the matter. All right, so shit we're discussing for the next 60 to 76 minutes, somewhere in there, you know. Hopefully won't spill over too long. Our history, we're gonna get into everything, all the way from the beginning up to right now. Scientific proof using multimedia. We're gonna show you some of that. We're going to get into what really matters, okay? What really matters. We're going to talk about invention, all right? Inventing things. We're going to get into our big mouth a little bit and clear up a couple things. We have a challenge for you guys, Minneapolis. We have a challenge tonight. There's a couple tall tales, our tallest, and then we'll do the highs and lows, so just to kind of set the record straight on a number of items. Yeah, so, okay, we have a PSA to all the smart, talented, good-looking, up-and-coming designers, handsome, well-spoken, good GPAs, stay the fuck out of Portland, okay? I don't need you guys fucking with my stock price out there, okay? So just stay back here, target, gainful employment. Okay, how we got here, all the way from the beginning, okay? I'm from Michigan, right? Northern Michigan. I was born in Detroit. Mom and Dad took us north when we were about, I was 4. And yeah, all the way up north to the Northwoods. That's my little sister on kindergarten day, my first day of kindergarten, Star Wars lunchbox. Had a mom and dad, a lot of hair in this photo. And lived in the Northwoods, and it was a simple, fall foliage was our favorite, and raking leaves, and a real regular American growing up kind of thing, riding bikes and playing guns and getting in trouble and fishing and baseball and all this kind of, the basic stuff. I tried my hand at basketball in 7th grade. That didn't. A little action shot for you guys from the archives here, I'm not afraid to show it. And when I was about 13, we moved to this Traverse City, Michigan, and this is really where things sort of changed for me because in my small town, now it's like 800 people, and you're either the good-looking homecoming queen or you aren't shit, right? And you're weird, and you're like a hesher or whatever you want to call it, and that weird divide. Between the cool and the not cool, I could fall safely into the not cool in this larger city of Traverse City. And, started to cut my teeth and sort of figuring out a life in art of some sort. I tried my hand at mechanical engineering and CAD, loved the computers, loved all the weird technical stuff, but, engineers are kind of a scary bunch, whatever. And of course, I had to pick, and you can go down the road of sports and things, but I was a skateboarder. And that saved my life. I mean, the whole thing, from the punk rock to the bands to all of it, that's where I made this sort of choice to think for myself in a lot of ways. We were getting messed with at school and all this kind of stuff. It would snow up there, and I was a snowboarder also. So this was our life, right? Graduated, did a couple years of an associate's degree in a tiny little community college, placate mom and dad, and I go all the way to Oregon. So I'm 19 years old. Other friends are going on to bigger state colleges and whatnot, and I go all the way out west in the Buick Skyhawk to go ride the mountains. This is our dream, and we have to go and make it right when you're young enough. So I go all the way out there. It's about 6 of my high school buddies, and we're living. This is Jackson Hell. It was incredible, and you're like riding the West and living like animals. I'm living out of my van. It's incredible. Well, I'm drawing, and I'm doing whatever it takes to make a living. I'm painting futon covers, painting, of course. But I didn't have a computer, right? And I would sneak into one of the, I'd sneak into like the little community college there to make business cards and little trinkets and stuff. And this whole time, there's just this gap between other friends who are taking off and me sort of with my sketchbooks and how far I can take that, and it's, it's sort of limited. So I'm learning how to, I'm drawing and so on. I'm learning how to make a living in this little town with illustration, but I want to see how far I can go. So to get that computer, I have to go all the way to Alaska, and you're up there in, sort of God or whoever's country, all the way up there. And it's incredible. But I'm washing dishes, and that's horrible. And, 16-hour days all summer long. The most beautiful, that's Mount McKinley. You can't quite see it as well, but it's just incredible, and you're seeing this stuff. But you're locked in this train, and it's just rough. Crying in the morning, having to get up at 5 in the morning and stuff. This is a fun shot. If you look real close at I'm sleeping on the train here. If you look real close on my lip, someone put a mosquito on it and took a picture. So there's a real camaraderie up there, a lot of fun. But while we're up there, I'm pedaling across town to the Kinko's to make our own special T-shirts and stuff because the T-shirts they have up there for your options just kind of suck. So we made our own stuff. So I'm learning how to use these computers and use this stuff, take my ideas and make real things, right? And make extra cash while I'm up there. Well, I do that for 4 summers, and I'm going back to Bend, Oregon, and I'm doing I was about 5 winters out there. But I wanted to just see if I could, there was only so far I could even go in Little Bend, Oregon. And I wanted to see if I could make it. So I picked Minnesota. And it was just simply because of this MCAD school. But more importantly, I wanted to come home and see if I could make it back home, sort of, and reset. I quit saying dude. I gave all my gear away. Because this was the home of my heroes, man. Chuck Anderson, Todd Piper Hauser, these names that I couldn't even afford the magazines. I would go up to Portland and I'd buy the book and, read the stuff and I'd see all their work and, all these Midwestern bands that I listened to growing up. I came here because of that sort of shit. It was so contagious. I had missed a lot of those bands, hell, by a good decade and was made fun of by it and whatever else. But I came here because of how much cool shit there was here, right? And got into this little MCAD and got myself a big degree. And while I was there, learned and started really refining how to make a logo, how to take, an assignment, I don't know, what's a logo you don't like in town, go try to rebrand it, that kind of fun stuff. This was called Famous Alcoholics. And I was learning how to screen print, right? And I was learning how to build stuff out of wood and weld. Well, this was just this whole sort of rebirth. I didn't have to work. And it just really set the tone for my first job. So I take this job, I leave here, I throw the towel in, I totally screw up, and I go down to goddamn California del Taco, fucking San Juan, whatever the hell, some Orange County hellhole. That's my palatial spread that I was, had $1,400, 800 square foot apartment. It's horrible, but I got to go work for Snowboarder Magazine. So, all this long-winded history here, I had a job now, right? I had a real job and with a salary and assignments and people to work with, and we were traveling. And I got to go to Tennessee to watch them make 200,000 of these things at a pop, which was incredible. And I did this for 22 months. And of course, had to get the hell out of there, like this sort of nomad. And I got rescued back to Oregon. So here's this big cycle, back to Oregon. And I get this job at the Cinco Design office. It's a real title. They have the modern chairs, all the cool stuff. Incredible clients. I was working on Nixon watches, doing type for these guys. Or actually, here's a watch I made called the Dork. You would press the button, and it would tell you the time. That was fun. Grab his shoes, different things that we were working on, sometimes real big budget stuff, little budget stuff. We had account managers and the whole sort of hierarchy. It was my first time being in a place, in this small, tight little community, and it was incredible. But like anything, I'm there a couple years, and I'm starting to see the mechanics of this stuff and how much we're working and how hard we're working. And it's a small, lean, awesome shop. Nothing left there that we didn't love. But I started to kind of, I do a lot of freelance, right? And while I was there, things tipped. And suddenly my freelance was just way more than whatever I could do at my job. And I'm having to get up at 9 and go in there, and we're doing the thing. And more and more opportunities were starting to show up. So like a good Midwesterner, I put my month in and bowed out gracefully with handshakes, and everything was cool, helped them find new people, whatever, all that. I bought a little house, Sandy and 67th. I got a little Gary dog for security. 7 pounds, 19 inches. I tricked out the basement to make a little studio and got some clients and some retainers and figured out simple math. This much cash, this many jobs for this season means this many months of rent. And when you start adding that shit up, and it's actually 3 years of safety just over the course of a summer, something changed, right? So this DDC idea, suddenly, as a bad joke, because I met all the cool designers in town here, some of them. And they had these great names about, very ironic names, something, nothing design. I'm just making stuff up. But, they'd tell you how great they were and they, whatever. But, Draplin Design Company, it just seemed to work, right? So I became the DDC, I guess, or whatever you want to call it, in 2004. And I'm going to show you proof of the last, 9 or 8 years now of doing whatever the hell it took, right? And I have to say, loving all of it, right? So, okay, we're going to see if we can't make this work here. Multimedia, here we go with some music, a little band from England you guys may have heard of to help us. Okay, here we go. Let's see if we can. know, this is where I went to London and I did the same thing, of course, and I started to cry because it was like, I got away with that shit. Because I want you to think that, like, out of all that work, you know, and there's, you know, some of it is totally legit and like clients' retainers and estimates and meetings about meetings and phone calls and that kind of, you know, did you get my email and all that shit? Some of that is there, but it's a very small percentage. A lot of that stuff did not make a penny. It was because it was just cool to do and it was fun. So you come to these things, I'm supposed to, you know, wow you with work and whatever, but out of that stuff, I've made more loot than I ever thought I would ever make. You know, I'm from Michigan, man, where they tell you it's gonna suck and you're just gonna deal with it, and that's cool, you know. You're gonna own a car, it's gonna either be a 2-door or a 4-door car, you know, some 2008 Despair or whatever it is you're driving, you know, it's just something horrible. And I flip through that stuff and it's just like, I can't really decipher anymore between what was work and what was just fun to make because we could just make it and just, who knows, right? So there's some proof for you guys. One of them in there made me 25 grand, but I won't tell you which one. So anyway, okay, no big deal. Okay, some meat of this. You guys having a good time? Everything cool? Okay, okay. I didn't start to cry. Whew, okay, so what really matters, right? And what I mean, the most in the end, I mean, all these years later now, I've been lucky to have some cool clients and a couple not so cool clients, but this is called Cobra dogs. Now, my friend Corey is this animal out in Portland, Oregon, really good buddy, a brother, and he comes to me and he says, okay, I've got this hot dog cart. That's my logo. Maybe they had some ketchup dripping off it or something, a hot dog cart. It's the old G.I. Joe logo, and he just ripped the thing off, gets this cease and desist letter, you know, from Hasbro or whatever the hell. And he comes to me and he's freaked out. I mean, we don't have lawyers, we don't, you know, legal beagle bullshit, whatever. And he says, you know what, I need to, you know, cease this thing and just whatever. So we just kind of tear into it. He's got no cash, and he's got this fun idea. And whatever I was working on that summer, just, you know, we made the time to make him, well, something cool, I think, right? So we made him this logo, and it was fun, and it had just enough kind of whatever cool it looked good at the size of a fucking dime on a pin, and all the way up to his Learjet someday. And, you know, I got in there with my, you know, 1 horsehair brush at 8,000% and rounded all the edges like Mr. Rand and Mr. Bass and so on, those old guys. And we made him all the cool stuff, the punch card and Cobra sauce and all this kind of, you know, someday he'll get a nice van. But really, it's like I look back now at all this work, and I've been busy, man. I've been striking while the iron's hot, right? I mean, I haven't said no to much. And it's like, you know, this is the stuff that I think about when I'm on like a plane and you're like, oh, what did I do? You know, it's all, you're at 30,000 feet and you're all high and weird and sick, and I'm a large man in a small seat and all that shit. And I really love working for my buddy, right? Well, there's Corey there, you can see him. He's franchised this thing a couple times now, so he's starting to make some cash. And on top of that, it's just cool. Because now, this is for a little shoe company out in Portland called Nike, right? And, oh, that's right, this thing is being webcast. Well, yeah. But, you know, this is something we made, and it's 8 months later. You see it show up on boxes in the whole world. It was in Munich, London, all over the world, Tokyo, this, that. I saw it in New York City, that whatever that was that spring. And it's like, I just look back now, and it's like, what do I want to keep doing? What matters, man? And it's like, I helped my buddy. Did I make any cash in that thing? You know, I just want a lot of Cobra dogs in the quiver. And how do you make a living on it? Well, I don't know, you know, but somehow I've been, you know, pulling it off. But, you know, this is what's cool. There's his mom, got the seal of approval. And, you know, I helped my friend out. I don't make a cent. But it's cool. It's fun. So think about that shit. You know, think about, I don't know, when you look back, you know, in 180 years, when you're, you know, 222 or whatever it is, you know, and it's like, what did I like to work on? What was the funnest years of my life? I'm trying to pull that off. I don't, you know, it's working, but I'm trying. So just clearing up a couple things about my big mouth. You guys may have seen this little video I did, and now is an opportunity just to say, I'm sorry for putting it out there, right? Because, you know, it went all over the blogosphere and all this kind of stuff, and it's like, it's, you know, we did it for fun. And yeah, the sentiment is, I think I'm kind of spot on. Maybe not. I'm not the first one to get up there and, you know, be a blowhard about this, but, you know, all these years later now with this thing, It's got me a lot of opportunities. I still have that big sign at the house that I actually took back from Sedalia. You guys, I assume you've seen the video, right? You can see here, I took the sign all the way back, back to Portland. But that's what's out there on, highway whatever. And I feel a little bad because, someone did make it, and I don't want them to be bummed that there were 300,000 views on Vimeo or whatever the hell it was, but that's what they came up with. And I saw the big documents, and it's like, if I've learned anything, that kid or that designer, they have a lot of power to me, because I'll see this thing for 20 years. And the little pitiful rock band logos I work on and these sorts of seasonal sporting good sorts of things, a lot of that shit turns into landfill quick. And, I don't know if I hope that video goes out and just makes them think about, what opportunities we have out there. And if it is like the base level, maybe that kid was like some kind of like backyard wrestler or something, and they throw themselves on glass in Missouri or whatever they do in their backyard. They want to get home that day a little faster, but, and spit that thing out. It's like, that's going to be up forever. It pollutes America. It pollutes everything, and I put that video up there, and it's like, now it's like a PR tour just to kind of say, well, me and my big mouth, just take it with a grain of salt, all, good, clean fun. So I hope you enjoyed it, but anyway, okay, now if that's clear, just because, another PSA, right? Lee, 40,000 point Futura Bold, thank you. Came all the way from Portland, here to support me and preen me and all that kind of stuff before, thank you. So, right? Okay. So invent your world. On to the next thing. We're moving right along, right? Field notes. Now, growing up in between Michigan and going all the way out west and doing what I do, back and forth all these years, I've been collecting memo books, right? Out of junk drawers, out of estate sales or yard sales or whatever the hell. Some have writing in them with the most ornate, beautiful little chicken scratch from some little old lady in Cedar Rapids who was worrying about how much I don't know, a tin of sausage was or whatever the hell they were worrying about, And it's just always been this sort of look back on how, I don't know, things were a little slower. I have 1,000 of these things now. So I was using them for years, and I just went and made my own. I started out screen printing them, cut them all up around the corners, make a couple hundred, hand number them, give them to all my buddies, all my friends, whatever. And I go and I give a stack to Jim Kudal in Chicago. And Jim, being an amazing entrepreneur and just general, design and art badass, right? Kudal.com, you guys, daily, hourly, whatever. Looked at this thing quickly and just said, there's something here. So we shook over it, in Chicago there, and we started this Field Notes thing. And this is, this was cool because Jim built me a big website, had a number of incredibly talented people to work on this thing and help take some of my goofy little ideas, and we just sort of built them into a real idea. And the idea here is, look at this shit. It's like 200 up to a year ago. There's dots every week as this thing starts to grow. And shit, we're in the walker, right? Right now, we're in the walker. That's pretty cool with me. But this idea that as designers, we're faced with making these decisions all the time and being smart for someone who brings you something on a plate and says, help us market this thing. And, Jim taught me you could make your own things. I guess I was already doing it. I just didn't quite know it. So now, we've had, 4 years of this stuff, and we make different colors. And this was for, sort of my mom was somewhere in this mix, in her garden. We made one for every state. And then sent them out to a big subscription service. I think 112 went to Hawaii. It was a real, just losing money all over the place. But this idea that, we own this sucker and it's ours. And if we want to move this way and make something cool, we'll do it, And we save our cash and we're frugal about it. And it's just this idea, when I came here and I saw Chuck, I was a scanner for Chuck Anderson. That was, on the list of who got to work at Chuck's, I was the lowest of the low, man. The worst. I never even opened Illustrator one time while I was an intern there. And I saw this guy and all his guys working with him inventing, stuff my dad could enjoy, right? and you know, I mean, mouse pads and just cool shit. And of course, doing work for everything under the sun. But it was like, that was cool to see that here. And I've tried to apply some of that stuff in my own little life. And this thing's, you know, I use them all the time, and I live off these things. And it's like, you know, when you're on the plane and you got to turn off your iPhone or your Dingleberry or whatever the hell it is, you know, no one can turn this thing off, you know, and it's like I keep them on me at all times because, you know, people used to have them at all times in their pocket. So we invent this thing, and I, you know, invent something too, and I'll buy it, right? So, yeah, tell 1,000 of your friends, everybody, and let's see if I can't get just filthy rich. Well, I mean, 2 years ago, I was able to take my mom and dad to a car lot, basically, and just say, whatever one you want, right? Just pick out whatever one you want. I mean, because leases and problems and just garbage, you know. My mom and dad worked hard all their lives, whatever, and it's like, you know, a field notes allowed me to do that. That was pretty cool. So, I mean, if it continues to do that, well, cool, but if not, we have a warehouse full of field notes. So anyway, invent some stuff, okay? So here's a challenge for you guys. You know, really trying to push it back on you. Enough about me for a little bit, but just right back on you. Get out there, right? So I like to go and drive and get lost and get wild out there. And, you know, this is on the extraterrestrial highway in Nevada. I've been to 49 of the 50 states. I want to say about 80% of Canada, you know, all the provinces. Bought a van. You could live in a van if you have to. That's kind of cool. Because we, you know, our sort of source of outdoor entertainment and exercise and whatever is going into places like this, right? Going into, look at that, man. If that doesn't just get you fired up, I don't know what does. I mean, look at that, right? And, you know, me and my buddy Rhino, man, we have gone all the way from New Orleans, back road. I mean, just real dirty. Both got bed bugs in Cape Girardeau, Missouri, you know, and, you know, sorry. And, you know, going into places like this, rescuing garbage. Because, I mean, really in the end, you know, whatever. I went to art school. I'm not going to let all my little secrets out. But all these guys that I was writing papers about and have the big, nice books and understand, you know, and I'm not going to let all my secrets. I know this shit. That's cool. But there's just like all these guys or whoever, designers or unpeople. I don't know, like you know, people that have their names in lights who made shit like this, right? Just some little, I don't even know, communicate. What do they even call it back then? Making things for tractors and stuff. And all these years later, you know, in the age now of found and all this other stuff where there's so much biting and fighting and I'm the new hot shit this, you know, the night before, then it gets ripped off the next morning and all this. We're out there rescuing garbage, right? And taking photos of stuff like this. So my challenge is, you know, guys, go do it also. I have a number of Flickr sets that are free. I mean, I guess I could make a book or something out of them. I don't know if that's like copyright, whatever, but I just find such great value in like restraint and the ability to take something one color and make it so, have such impact and so creative and tell a quick story. And it's interesting that a lot of that shit that really gets me is from about 84 and below, right? I don't know well, something was invented. These computers were invented. And suddenly you could spit out a little Corel Draw clip art or something, you know? So for years I've been documenting this stuff and openly just sharing it with you guys. And I just challenge you to go do it too, because right now, somewhere in America, someone, you know, some older person is kicking it, right? And that sucks. And then they're going to have an estate sale this next weekend, and the place is just going to be decimated by eBay pirates, parasites, glass thieves, people looking for paintings, whatever. You got to see these people. There's a guy who has a goiter on his neck we see around Portland, just so gross, looking for certain types of bottles, ball jars. Nice life, right? Well, I go right for the damn, you know, garage to look at stuff like this and document this stuff because I don't want to forget about it. Because here's the thing, this is all trash. This stuff, they're going to get a bobcat and they're just going to level the house when it's all the stuff that has any kind of value is done, and it's just going to be burnt, you know, whatever, melted down to just nothing, to pulp. So I'm out there rescuing stuff. Delusional, sure, but you guys can go do this too, and we can, you know, have this really cool sea, you know, this syrupy sort of mess of this stuff, because, you know, these guys had to think in metal. They had to think in like, crappy cardboard. And I don't know, there's just an innocence to the stuff and a certain creativity that now, when I have a million grillion colors in my, on my speak and spell, a new Adobe whatever, it's like a million fonts, they just did incredible stuff with a little. So just think about that and go take some photos and then send them to me, right? So that's my challenge to you guys. Go out there and get dirty. So, here's how it looks, a little bit of larceny here, all in good fun, jumping fences over the years to go get these things with a cat paw because I just like old, bad type. This was not meant for ironic designers with lots of money to buy other shit from ironic designers, none of that. This is like just dudes taking down serial numbers. And it's like, go look at them now in 2012, what they look like. And it's got like, this is some nerdy design shit, but I don't know, it's got like Lucida Grand on there or some horse shit, and it's hard to read, and the elements hit it, and it doesn't work and whatever. So, I'd go out and steal this stuff or rescue it. This one right here is street value, shit, $5, I don't know, whatever. But just incredible to go digging around in there. You can smell it, smells dirty, you can get some sort of a, rash from some of that shit, whatever. So I don't know what happened. My dad is like a, just black belt Polish pack rat, and he'll call me and say, Aaron, I was digging through the garage today, and guess what I found? I'll say, what's that, Dad? And he'll say, a wall. So, Dad, that's what I was taught by, okay? So, I have piles of this stuff around the shop. And just, I've been challenged by some folks like, what are you, some kind of sentimentalist or some kind of weird, do you want to live in 1950? No way, because my friends couldn't, use the same buses and weird stuff back then. That was a bad, weird time, and I like to think that we're getting better and smarter and refined, and yet we're losing, as nerdy cake decorators like we are, some of these cool things. So I hoard a lot of it, and you should too, right? Because it's all going to be lost. Or just at least take a photo, okay? So, everything cool? Everyone having a good time? Podcasting or web, whatever, bit of a small clap there. All right, that's all right. Okay. So tall as tales. Here we go. I'm going to go right to the top. This is the pinnacle of everything I'll ever do. It's all downhill from here. All right. So let's just go all the way from the top. Things I love. Let's just get it all out there. This is sort of borrowed from my buddy Rhino, who had the most incredible things I hate list. Something like 5,000 things he hated or something. I don't know. So a little borrowing there, good, clean fun. Thank you, Rhino. And we'll start at the top, man. I love my mom all the time. Mom, that's an approved shot right there. That was an approved shot. Gauntlet of approvals and written permission and so, that's my mom. I got the best mom going, That's my dad. That's Jim Draplin, everybody. Sold industrial tooling, just purveyor of bullshit and funniness and wildness. And every time I stubbed my toe as a kid, he'd say, should I call a tow truck? And that's my dad. So little action sequence for you guys, okay? I have a family where I love my little sisters. My family, we grew up. I've been a long way from home for a long time, and that one's getting a little old, so I'm working on maybe someday coming home. I love Lee. Thank you, Lee, for coming here and dealing with Portland, dealing with home and all this stuff. Thank you. Gary, little Gary, 7 pounds, little Gary. Gary, sadly, we had to give him back to the universe after a back injury. That sucked. But, I love Gary and taught me, look at that. I can't even look at this. I just start to lose it, man. But anyway, okay, little Gary, I love little Gary. This shot is titled, What's Good for His Mouth is Good for Mine. And, you get the photo shoot going, and you got the sweep and the lights and the caterers and the fucking producers and all this bullshit. We get a couple shots in there in between takes, whatever, no big deal. My nephew Oliver, man, I could talk for an hour on this shit. Now, my little sister went and got herself pregnant, and my almost brother-in-law, Jacob, who's just a very, very good guy, they have this little family now, and this has rallied the family. For the first month of his life, that little pinky nail holding him, my little sister made this beautiful little person. Look at those teeth. Like he's just going to bite me in the face someday or something. But little Oliver has just, the joy of watching my parents on the iChat hold this little guy or see this little guy. A week ago, we smuggled Leah back on a series of 9 flights or some shit with this 2-year-old toddler all the way back to Michigan to see my parents. And I just kind of called them at the right kind of time, had it all set up. And on iChat, I saw my dad go, "What's that?" And in through the door comes my oldest sister, Sarah, and little Oliver. And my dad, whoa, and there comes Oliver running up to him, and there's tears and the whole thing. We're crying out west and all this shit. A lot of crying in this talk. Anyway, I love nephew Oliver. Rhino, thanks, Rhino. That's right, okay, that's my buddy Rhino. Rhino discovered 32-ounce Miller High Lifes when we were down in Kansas City. There's proof. I love my buddy Dale. God, man, look at that guy. Face of a pit bull, heart of a lion. Dale Dixon, everybody. Pride of East Lansing, Michigan, helps me with shipping and some shipping. You know, that's what he does out there, helps me. And he's a buddy out west. I love America. Oh yeah, I love America. I love the man, you know. Boom, boom, boom. Thank you. I believe he is going to whip the pants off these turkeys in a couple months here. I can't wait. Okay? I love autumn. That's my favorite time of year. A lot of layers, etc. I'm back here. This is taken in St. Paul. Rhino over there, Axeman running around. And I just remember looking up and like, we don't really have this in Portland, you know? So I love autumn. I love guitars. This is a leaner Aaron Draplin up in Alaska. Bought my first guitar up there with my first paycheck, so I play guitar. Records, man. I love records, you know, and so I have a big record collection out there. Getting lost. So that's a bit of a challenge to you guys. Go get lost. I've been getting lost for years out there back and forth. And, you know, as the jobs get bigger, I can't do it as much. But I got 20 more months until I turn 40, and shit's going to change at 40. So ghost signs. This is in Cincinnati. I love ghost signs, man. I mean, you know, when I came to Minneapolis, I just spent a day basically on old Washington there, just blown away, just taking pictures. Chuck, and, you know, all the CSA shit I saw, one little photo in the book. I think they faked it. I don't know if they faked. I think they faked it. But that book and that first, you know, CSA stock, that brought me here. And I looked for that sign out there for the archive CSR. I think they faked. But still, I walked up and down that shit looking for it. I was a fan, so I like ghost signs. I love sweatpants. This lady was going apeshit in O'Hare, man, just freaking out. Had an ass like a 50-gallon drum. I mean, just going crazy. And I just got a shot. I love sweatpants. $8 at Target. Yeah, all right. Hey, it's my night. I'll say what I want. I like type-on trains. We work right next to the train tracks. And that shit rattles your feelings and the whole deal, and we've learned the timing and all the stuff. But I go out there, and it's just type-on trains, no pretension whatsoever. I mean, it's meant to work from a mile away or whatever. Yard bowls and you know, Scuzz and his buddy Scuzz and their dog, and they're going to come out here from Hard Times Cafe out to Oregon, and they're jumping off, and they got hobos and whatever. I don't know, type-on trains. Futura Bold, the underdog font, right? The font that's been relegated and delegated to whatever, to like manuals back in the day for like how to build your lawnmower or whatever the hell it was going to be. And just, you know, this font defied the Nazis. Look it up. I'm not going to let all my secrets out, but look it up. Nameplates, very crafty with a cat paw. There's just something about this. Like, you know, you had to really design the thing and really think it through. It's not just a print, some little, you know, wax, Epson, whatever print. These things had to work for a long time. Old signs, you know the story. There's just something about the optimism and this idea that, like, you could take your family out and drive and then come to our crappy frost top, whatever, you know, whatever, driving or something. There's just something about it. My favorite band of all cosmic time, the goddamn Flaming Lips from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. An American story of a bunch of weirdo, acid-drenched, you know, Okies and shit, making it the most incredible records for all those years, never making a cent, selling me back in '93 or whatever the hell it was, and doing it and doing it and doing it. And now they're grillionaires. All the roadies get paid. They have big houses, and all the band has houses, and it's incredible. It's just this American story of, like, you know, even if they didn't make it, they'd still be making cool art. And I've just loved this band just for that. And I mean, now they're singing about, I don't know, fucking cosmic bullshit on some planet, whatever, you know, and it's just stupid, or, you know, but I just, you know, the Flaming Lips, everybody. So that's my favorite. That's the things I love. So you know, just to be fair, the things I hate, okay? All the way at the top of Asshole Mountain when you navigate, you know, all the way at the top, you get to the very peak of you know, Dickhead Summit or whatever, all the way at the top, you know, it's Kid Rock. So, and now, so this is the guy that's going to rescue my Detroit, right? This guy, all the way at the top, pouring champagne down a stripper's ass. Now, you know, that was one phase, and now he's a country boy. And he's gonna, you know, he's gonna go sing for Mr. Romney, or he's gonna go make, you know, something about, you know, riding in my boat, you know, with Toby Keith or Bo Cephas or some bullshit. But this dickhead changes with every little garbage thing, and always just gets dumber and dumber on the way. Testosterone implants. All right, there you go. Garbage. Sandals at a wedding. Come on, guys. Wear leather shoes like your grandpa did, all right? Come on. Beach themes. It's bullshit. Anyway, sandals at a wedding. I won't even go. I have to ask them, you guys wearing sandals? You know, we're kind of eclectic. I won't even go. Bad signage. You know, just enough already. These are things that are going to last longer than me in a lot of respects. So, you know, make a good decision. I have to look at these things and enjoy them, and Mountain Madness is going to take over whatever they were doing, you know, wherever I was. I don't know, just bad signage. All right. Nose jobs. That didn't work. Nose jobs on fake patriots. That didn't work either. Okay, all right, well, Google this guy. You know, listen, I know it's kind of crass. It's my whatever. I'll say what I want. This is evil right here. I mean, what do I know? But this is bad. This is dinosaur tracks, man. This is setting our asses way back. And I love to see the picture of his family and the daughter smiling. My dad's going to take all my rights away, blah, blah, blah. You know, that's great, you know, this guy. Google him up, you know. Tell your friends about him. Fucking asshole. Well, loud cell phone people. National nightmare. You guys got your own one here up there, and you know where with the, you know, she's, man, God, man, dumb sells and business is good, huh? This guy. Take some aging jock and dip his hair in whatever bullshit and put him in one of those bowling shirts and some skateboard trunks or whatever, and just would have. This is the guy that would have been kicking my ass in high school, and now this is the guy that you flip the channel and he's saying razzmatazz on the Zika Blaz or whatever the fuck, you know, guy. You know, this guy. I hate this asshole. Like gold and shit. Pineapple. I hate pineapple. Hipsters dressing like Amish guys, poaching wireless, hang out in expensive coffee shops. Man, what's this shit about? All the mysteries of life, who knows? Marky Mark, man. And it all comes down to one little stupid story, one little tiny story. One time when I worked on Nixon Watches, went to L.A. They put us up in the most incredible Standard Hotel. You know, the stars were staying there and ODing and all this shit. And we were there. And that night was some MTV Awards. And damned if a white Ferrari or something, some kind of something pulled up. And it was this white sports car, and out jumped in white sweatpants, Marky Mark, right? So here comes Mark Wahlberg, the reinvented actor, the thespian, right? And he comes walking out, and I watch him throw his keys to the whatever guy that's standing there. Now, minutes before this, I got to shake Spike Lee's hand, so I'm high as shit, right? You know, that was pretty cool. But there comes Mark, and I watch him just kind of walking, and he knows people are watching him, and I just give him one of these, "Yo, Marky Mark!" And everyone kind of looks at me and looks at him, and I go, "Loved you in the Funky Bunch." Anyway. And he just, anyway. Stupid. Okay, people who say woohoo. Enough already. Okay. So our attempt at high note closers tonight, okay? All right, so stuff that should stick to your ribs, work hard and love this shit, all of it, all right? We are lucky to do what we do, all of it. Say yes. This is from Lee. say yes, just a little more than you say no. You know, designers love to be this sort of, I'm not going to work for that price. I can't believe you're going to make us change that. Blah 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 blah. Man, enough. You know, we are so lucky to do this stuff. I've worked fighting bald-faced hornets in the swamps of Michigan. I've fought dishes in Alaska, some real shit jobs, and I have to say, you know, I can't complain. You know, so but designers love to complain. So anyway, say yes. And then you get the job done. If they want to make a lemon, let them make a lemon, and on to the next thing, okay? Right? Go invent something, whatever. But do good work for good people. You know, I was taught that here, and you know, my intern at Chuck's, whatever, you know, really I got to see those guys work on just incredible stuff and invent all the time. So this does exist. I've been able to find friends and curate these things to make this thing work for me. And there's been a couple bad ones along the way, and, you know, you just have to, I still honor the gig, and, you know, got worked over. But I remember that shit, you know, and I'll never take you know, I've had guys call me back and trying to play it cool, and then, you know, we're done. I just missed the call, whatever. So, all right, guys, buy a poster out there. We have a seriously stocked merch table here manned by the Walker, so get out there. Must-have items for the rest of the winter here and into the summer. And thank you, Minneapolis. So thank you. All right, so we're going to do some questions and you know, go easy on me. You know, it's supposed to be a big fun night. You know, yeah, go easy on me. Okay, so who's got a question tonight? Okay.
I was just wondering, at what age were you really aware that you were being drawn to graphics? Because it seems like your life really had an impact on what you're drawn to. So I was just wondering when you really flipped that switch and started making that realization.
About 13, Santa Cruz skateboards. Really, my dad explained to me how they made skateboard graphics, you know, and how they layered the colors up. And it was so visceral and cool, and not to mention, you know, we're skateboarders, you know, and it was just, you know, we couldn't afford a lot of them, but Jim Phillips really put it on the map for me, just art and design. And I remember at that time there was a little guy named David Carson. I was looking at, you know, Transworld Snowboarding, and I just remember reading that name as an art director, and it was wild shit, you know, and I was about 12, 13 years old, so that's really where I knew that I would be, you know, I mean, that starts like we start tracing graphics and then making your own graphics, but I knew pretty early on that I wanted, I mean, I've been drawing all my life. My mom has some drawings of, like, you know, doing of my dad when he was sleeping on the couch when I was like 5 or 6 or something. I could draw from a young age, whatever that meant, and my mom got me started. So I don't know, 13 is when I knew I will do something. Because I used to build my own type, you know, and I would draw my name or draw something, and I didn't even really know. You know, I just liked the idea of these, like, forms or something. So, yeah, 13.
I want to know about your top 3 junkin' trips or junking places.
I could go top 30, but I'll do 3. Okay, all the way at the top. Derek, nice to see you. Yes, all right, okay, sorry. At the top, all the way at the top, the world's longest yard sale. Oh man, from Defiance, Ohio, through the hell holes, death pits of Kentucky and Tennessee, down Highway 127, all the way to Gadsden, Alabama. And it's in August, it's Civil War heat. It's real hot, and man, you can really get to the bottom of some shit there. I mean, just everything from church bazaars with like quilts laid down on the grass in some Ohio field with a bunch of shit on it, to, you know, pretty, you know, antique dealer people with, they lay down the floors and they're all, you know, really articulated stuff. A couple rules that come out of that thing that we learned on the world's longest was, little tip for you guys, the more colorful the pile of stuff. As in, the more colors you see, the browner the stuff was, the better. The more colorful meant one thing, baby clothes. So we'd step on the gas and get the hell out of there. You had to be quick, you know. You only hit so many things. 685 miles or something over the course of 4 or 5 days. So the world's longest. Number 2, Brimfield out in Massachusetts. Coming up here in a couple months here. I did it with my buddy Evan a couple years ago. I mean, these are antique dealers, you know. And I think, you know, number 3, I don't know, you know, I think it's just something like estate sales in Portland. Totally random, totally weird, sometimes littered with ghosts and just vibe of like oh man, it's too quick to get in here and do this, or you really get to see into someone's life. But more often than not, I clear people out of the guy's garage and let me just get a shot for Mr. Whoever, and I'll go just, they used to keep their boat receipts from the sticker. They put the new one on, they'd peel the old one off, they put them up on their beams. I collect all that shit, and that goes into a little pile for Mr. Whatever, So estate sales. And, I'm sure there's tons in the cities, in the south and wherever north, whatever, but yeah, something like that. That sounds right? Okay. I think we have someone.
I just wanted to know, when and how you discovered your style, because, it seems that you've got a really sick, definitive style, and I just wanted to know sort of when and how you came to it, sort of thing.
Well, this is going to sound totally like, yeah, buddy, yeah, right, whatever. But, I show you guys the stuff of, I don't show you a lot of the work that I get paid for, because that's my day job, some of it. And, I can't really show you the stuff I learned in publications class. You know what I'm saying? It's not as fun. That's what I like that's where I don't really think through. But I just like things if they're undesigned. So I call that my Futura bold bullshit. Something that's just, there was just one font you picked, script or bold, to put on some bullet pencil or something back in the day. I just like that stuff because it's completely, people used to list all their services on their business cards, right? Now it says something like, I don't know, culture jammer or some shit. I don't know, whatever. And it's like people used to say, this, that, the other. And I just like that innocence. But when I make a logo, I like things that, and I was taught that here, that look good small and look good big, and there's a certain scalability at all times and a certain maybe wit or simplicity in color, stuff that looks killer embossed into things and also looks good with every color and whatever embroidered into something maybe, So, style-wise, I show you guys the juicy stuff because that's the funnest. But, there's times I have to take a pile of information and pack it into a couple of pages in the catalog. And that's not about style, that's about function. And I really pride myself on good, clean hierarchy and stuff. I still look at all the Walker shit because that taught me in a lot of respects how to take a lot of information and keep it, I could read through and figure out what's coming, looking at that stuff. Some of their books get a little up, a little high for me, but still, it's like that stuff, that is styleless to me. I don't know how to explain it. So maybe you're like, yeah, right, a lot of orange, a lot of Futura bold, whatever, but, I have certain clients that, I can't dip them in my shtick. I have to honor restraint, a warm, soft, fuzzy photo with just a little logo in the corner because that's what they need. That's not me. That's them. And, I don't know. When a restaurant comes to me, this gal came to me about a year ago, and, she's half my size, and she's tiny and nice and everything else, and, her boyfriend says, here's the couple ideas, here's the thing, and it's like, I'm not designing for Aaron Draplin at that point. That's for her, only for her. And it's an audience of, of women that she's going after, whatever. I have to go and take a look. Well, what are other people doing? What's appropriate? So I like to think that I can move and shake with all that, instead of just being sort of the one hit, maybe wonder. I know some guys, I collect all their shit, that's cool, but I'm trying to roll with it, and I don't know if that even comes out, in a lot of that stuff. I mean, the thick line shit, I'm just a fan of Mr. Bass, and how great is, I don't know, what the Bell telephone logo looked in 1960 and looks today, and just how bad whatever they have on that bill looks now, whatever. So, does that answer that? I think, okay, yeah. So. You guys having fun? Is this cool? All right.
What are some of the major differences between Portland and Minneapolis that you've noticed, both either in the design culture or just the overall culture of the area?
Oh, man. Well, sweat in the summer. I sweat a lot in Minneapolis when I'm in the summer. So, and then I get nosebleeds from the cold in Minneapolis. I don't know. I grew up in the cold. But, as far as bands and the stuff that matters to me or our friends or us or whatever, it's a lot of the same. I think here... I went and spoke at Target last year, and it was pretty buttoned up. And my buddies who work there, they're animals, but they get on the clock and they do an awesome job, and they make all the shit that we're digging through. You guys all go to Target, you do. And, they make it cool. I really appreciate that shit. You know, I went there, but I mean, I have to say that seemed a little more corporate. You know, Oregon is, guess what rainbow people are? You know, like fucking growing weed and shit. I mean, these are you know, whatever, like playing bongos and stuff and raising kids named Free and named after incense and shit. I don't know, whatever. Oregon's got those sorts of folks, you know, like literally worked into your county seat, whatever that means, you know. So, you know, your Ken Kesey's and stuff out there, those guys, I mean, those are like heroes out there, you know. I mean, it's a little different back here. So I don't know, Oregon's a little younger, you know, in some ways. But as far as design stuff goes, you know, we have a big Nike out there that continually pumps out awesome after awesome after awesome thing, you know, and lots of little things after that. But I mean, what I found here was, you know, 3 or 4 guys in a little shop could make it. And you know, I want to move back someday, but I can't wink, you know? Like, you know, woo, you know, everything those dudes touch, just incredible. You know, it's like, that's what I want. They were throwing footballs around, I remember, you know? Like, I wanted to work in a place where I could go, whatever, do what I wanted, you know? And I saw that here first. And I've been able to manifest that, you know, in Portland. It's allowing for that. I'm sure that's anywhere you go. But yeah, that's about, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's cool out there as far as like it rains a lot and I don't have to worry about, you know, the sun goes down in the summer over the mountains and it's 60 degrees. And as a man of size, you know, keep things copacetic. So, I don't know. What does this even sound like? Yeah. By the way, this question session goes for an hour and a half. Just kidding.
You actually designed the logo for my company out here. And when you provided us with design options, you actually provided us with about 123 options, I think, for the first draft.
Caught me on a good day. Yep.
I guess I have 2 questions on this. Do you do that for all your clients, or does it depend on your client? And do you find yourself reusing design concepts to see if clients bite? What does that tell you about the client? So that's 3 questions.
Wow. Hardball journalism here. Okay. Number 1, I liked Ivan. It was cool. I liked what he was about, and I liked his spirit. And it's like, listen, web developers, I was telling you today, fucking horse thieves in the West, some of the worst of the worst. Jaywalkers, tax collectors, what else? You know, I don't even know it. Republicans, you gotta be careful. Web developers, right up there with them, just the scourge of the earth, you know? And it's just, man, lying, cheating, and stealing. I mean, I just like the idea of a funnel. I didn't quite know what he wanted, but I had a little bit of an idea, but I wanted to get him excited, all of you guys excited, so we could just start with a big net and whittle our way down. And out pops the thing that not just I like, but he likes. It's fabulous. Well, yeah, I hope so. I mean, it's up there, whatever, but it's not about it being cool. It wasn't about it being outdoing the next guy down the line. We took a look at who the competition is, you know, as part of our process, and just kind of said, let's make something that looks good, tiny, you know, and we can get behind. Has a little bit of color, helps us paint the desks and the things I went and saw today. And it's like, you know, through that process, if we hit something on the first page, done, wrap it up. But if not, we keep on moving. And yeah, 100 things, you know, that's not, I mean, I just work a lot, and I work crazy, and I like to show all the things just to say, we could do it any which way. What are you digging? Here's a range. It's like a volume knob, 1 to 10, right? And some guys, I know exactly what I need to make, so they get 3 pages or something. Other ones, I'm just excited to like just throw a bunch out there, and with a big asterisk of, you got to whittle it down. Or, what if we combined 1 and 7? Or whatever the hell that was. Well, just what if? I don't know. And, you know, through that stuff, sometimes there's shit that gets lost that I loved, you guys didn't love, or whoever didn't love. I put it in a big old file of some days. Absolutely. And I'll show it. If it's a shape or just a certain resonance of color or something, I don't even know how to even really, you know, sometimes they'll show up because I hit something. I know there's something there, that shape, that device. Maybe it's not about type or something, the device of like, damn, man, you know, one side has some lines in it and the other side has this. Like, that, we can use that for when we do the background on the site and so on and so forth later on. So, you know, if I can work it into something, yes, you know. Other times, it's just sketching. You know, I mean, I'm on the plane sketching all the time in these things, and it's like just trying stuff. And then, you know, once you have the sketch, you can blast that vector out pretty quick. Let's see what it looks like. Sometimes I don't hit it. I just did a logo for a kid, and he didn't like any of it, you know, and it was hard to take. You know, I've been lucky over the years. And, okay, well, let's make sure we're the right group for you. Let's make sure that, you know, before we go down the wrong road again, we're going to come in, we're going to dig through a pile of stuff. We're just going to look at color and sensibilities and things. You know, does that answer the question? What was the third question?
What does it tell you about the client? That's
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, well, I like to think that I make it fun. I make it fun. We can make anything. We have a little time, and you guys are going to use that thing for 40 years, let's hope, whatever. And maybe it's going to be 4. But we had fun, and we really struck when we should, because logos and that fun DNA stuff, you know, with the little guys and some of the big ones I've worked for, you know, that's your chance to really come out swinging, you know, and it better be cool, it better be good. We better have a little bit of thought behind the green or whatever we worked on. So let's keep that fun, because I've seen it go unfun too many times, and that's when I give them all field notes or something, you know, or coin purses or some shit, you know, just to lighten it up a little bit. It should be fun, right? I mean, we're designers. This is really fun. It should be fun. So I try to make it like they really enjoy it. Like, you know, leave all the bean counting and the sweating and the worrying about keeping the lights on. That's all part of the deal. This is our chance to really open up and just invent something. And maybe it's really dumb, because that's all we need. Or maybe it's something really fun, or whatever you want to, I don't know, you know, whatever. So.
We had a great time with you.
Well, thank you. Nice to see you. Thank you. All right, okay. All right.
You talked about establishing retainer relationships with clients. Is that something that you pursued? And if so, how did you know how to structure those relationships? Or was it client dictated? And how did that work out for you?
There's no science to that shit. There's none. I mean, give me a list. I'll work out a price. I'm going to pad it a little bit high. If it's 42 things, I'm going to charge you for 40 or 45. And if it turns into be 55, let's just do it, whatever. You know, my Cole and Union are 2 clients I have. Cole Headwear, a real good brother, buddy of mine, Brad Chevelle, and, you know, we make a headwear brand. Every year, there's more and more stuff. He's growing. He's up in millions of dollars or whatever, you know. Union Binding Company. I just love these guys. I'll do whatever it takes. They're my brothers. You know, they support me. I support them. They raise families. We make cool stuff for snowboarders and whatever. And if we have to do 5 boxes and I only estimate it for 3, fuck it, who cares? I can find that time, because they're giving me opportunity to not wear pants while I work. I mean, I remember going downtown here and seeing some pretty tight organizations, and, you know, tucked in this, tucked in that, you know, and I've been afforded this sort of little existence where, what, you need a change? Like, I'll have it before the phone call's done. Not, well, I got to go talk to our strategist. Listen, I know that's the way, or whatever. What, is that right? No, our planner, and we'll get an email, and then we'll see if we can connect and all that other bullshit speak, you know, whatever. Like, I'll just say, well, when, you know, Draplin, when are you going to do it? I'm doing it right now. I have my headset on. Like, I'm doing it, literally, I am making the change. You'll have the PDF and a couple clicks of an email. No problem. Let's keep it moving, you know? And that's different than like, oh, I got to go back to the clients. You know, my partners and I can't believe they're going to change that shit. Now what do we do? You know, stall and this. No, you know, I just keep it moving. I don't know. So the retainer structure, God, how much can you guys pay? You know, sometimes when you're working with some of the bigger guys, oh shit, is this still all being podcast, whatever it is? Yeah, who fucking cares? I mean, it'll be a big call, and it's a big name, it's a big something, Fortune 500, whatever, you know, it's something big, and, you know, everyone's freaked out. And then they call back, and I'll say, hey, Goo, you know, and Goo, my partner John, will pick up the phone, and he'll be like, account planner. And then he'll toss it to David, who's we'll make up terms, strategist or something. And then it comes back to me, and then you could add a 0 on that shit, you know, or whatever, you know. It's like, but I don't recommend that. There's some serious faces out in the crowd, just, you know. But that's, some bigger things, they feel a lot more comfortable. And what it boils right down to is like some kid and I are going to be in the trenches for 6 weeks. And he's going to be selling up the food chain to a bunch of suits and people and, guys that say, yeah, we're going to need you to come in here on Saturday, those kind, that kind of shit. And I win him over, and then we get it done. That's just exactly how it works. But anyway, I mean, there's no science to cash and how, we have an hourly rate, but a lot of that stuff is just to like, I don't know. I think we've used it but a couple times, So people come in and they'll say, all right, here's what I'm thinking. And then if you can do it, let's do it, So, yeah. Sometimes, you let the client talk, and then they'll throw the number out, and it's awesome. And if I talk first, I'll, whatever, screw it all up.
There's a kind of forgotten directness about American graphics that haven't been manicured or over-designed. And I wonder, whether what you've collected is a kind of document, a record of a kind of, almost like a piece of anthropology, of where America has been in a time when, we're wondering where it and the world is moving. Kind of in a sort of simpler, when we made things, we didn't conceive of them, we just did them.
Yeah,
Still is, I think, in this country, actually.
Yeah. Well, my favorite stuff is stuff that... What? Did I say something? What was that? Seriously? What happened? No, I'll answer to that. Like, there was a time...
It's still in the country that you make things. You want to make things. With things.
I'm all confused and shit. What the hell was that about?
I think that's quite good, actually.
Is there a cow up in the corner or something? Well, my favorite stuff, it wasn't about a design brief. They met a need for an album cover just to separate the next from the last from the next from whatever. And there's an art director there. Like, my even most favorite stuff is stuff that's just about good hierarchy on the side of a telephone pole. There's no design there. That's why I have such great respect for people. And I get so mad when I see, I love transit logos on buses. That's for the regular people, real regular. That's it. And our logo in Portland is beautiful. And someone understood and did it. And the type is nice. And that's like design hitting. When I didn't have a car in Minneapolis, and I loved what it looked like, Like, I loved the logo, and I would go out, whatever, So, all that stuff, there's just a certain, I don't know, I've met all my heroes, and I've met a lot of people that I look up to, and, some of them are just cake decorators, and they'll tell you that, I don't know. I like that sensibility of, I don't even know if this shit's making sense, but it's like to be able to come and say, we're going to make what's right for you, and we're not going to make it so that my dad will get it. And then your total super demographic, whatever, will get it too. Does that make sense? Is that kind of, whoever booed, why were we booing? That's cool about going and rescuing shit. On some level, who was the guy, I can't remember the name, Harry Smith, right? Who would go and take sounds from band, was that Harry Smith? Was it Harry Smith? Was that what was the guy that would go and take all the sounds of whistling and banjo playing? Help me here, come on, there's 300 of you. Anyway, it was the guy who would go across the South and stuff, and he would collect. Lomax? It was Lomax, sorry, what am I talking about? Alan Lomax, is that what it is? Okay, sorry, what am I talking about? Alan Lomax, thank you, sorry. But he would go and rescue that stuff, and it's somewhere. And I it's incredible. Right now, someone at the Smithsonian is rescuing a Native American language that's dying. It's kind of the same thing, There's no booze allowed for that shit. Jeez. Sorry. Anyway.
Forgive me, I got a cold. But one of the things that really resonated for me in your lecture was restraint. And I know personally as a designer, that's the most difficult thing to deal with. Sometimes I'll be working on something and project manager will come back at the end of the day and I'm still working on it, not because it's not done, but because I don't know when it's done. So how do you know just kind of when you're finished, and how do you struggle with that or resolve that issue?
I think when, something it's fun to go through a big PDF and just fun and whatever. It's when the client loves it, that's it. When they're looking at it and they're like, when can we get the whatever to get to print it? We need the T-shirt graphic, and then I know we hit it. And a lot of times, there's not a lot of time to toil over that. Like I need to show them A, B, C, and D, little volume, and here's one that goes off, that really expands, and there's a number of devices we can dig out of it. Or, what do you think about this down here? I just show them a range, and they can go pick. That one feels right for us wherever they find that. And then that sort of like is me wayfind, or whatever, me like, I don't know, to try to make a little target, sort of soft target for them to hit. Because I don't know, I don't like, my favorite stuff I've made, it's not really about just, yes, I come up with a solution, but I really like the idea of ownership from both sides, where they helped me guide them and I showed them a bunch of fun stuff to work with. And we could sort of like, I could say, here's my best foot forward, here it is. I did the research, I did this, and I think this is, but if that scares you, check it out as we work our way back down to something that even riffs on where you were even a little closer, because sometimes it's all it needs. So I try to take the time to show a range. And, as far as like, restraint, sometimes I feel like I'm just adding too much to the, too much icing or something. And that's when I'll kind of know, like, it didn't, I just like stuff that's really functional and like, it didn't need all that stuff. When I came to MCAD, it was at the height of, at maybe the sort of end of like this like destruction of design and stuff with all these big stars and stuff. And I read about it and I loved it and but it wasn't for me. I was so interested in grid. And because I was afraid I wouldn't get a job at a design shop. So if I did get a job at a newspaper, I would know how to make it, take a lot of stuff and make a nice page. That was cool too. Does that make sense? But yeah, I hope I answered that. Real quiet in here. I don't know what else to, Jeez. Okay, time for one more question. Let's, here we go. Let's make this one count.
Who is the band in your presentation?
Who's the band?
Yeah.
The one that we played? A little band called Led Zeppelin.
Thank you.